My beloved child, I will block your path to those in whom you once placed your complete trust. Not because I am distant, but because you have ignored the signs I quietly sent. It is time for you to face the void, the very space I used to set you free. You call it loss, but I call it purification. That which you mourn is what has been holding you captive. It is not the enemy, but the things you are clinging to that are delaying the destiny I have ordained. You have never truly understood that some doors I close not to punish, but to protect. I know you felt abandoned, as if everything you built was swept away in a moment. But what you didn't see was me uprooting what was never planted by my hand. You've sown seeds with tears, but if that soil is not yours, I will not let anything grow there. The letting go you fear is not an end, it is the beginning of what I have designed with my own hands. You once believed that loyalty meant never leaving. But true loyalty is obedience, even when it means releasing what once meant the most to you. I saw you breaking apart as you faced the decision to walk away, yet you didn't realize that the very act of leaving was what would bring healing to your soul. I witnessed you endure silently sacrifice, dim your own light to preserve relationships that were draining you. Now I am placing a full stop, not to take away your joy, but to restore what I intended to give you from the very beginning. My precious child, I have quietly watched you close your eyes to your own wounds just to hold on to a relationship that had rotted from within. You gave more than that tender heart of yours could bear. You silently sacrificed, swallowed the cold words and indifferent acts, all because you feared losing someone you once called everything. But you didn't see that the tighter you held on, the more of yourself you lost. In that stubbornness, your love turned into a chain dragging pain day after day. I know you once hoped that if you were kind enough, patient enough, they would change. You thought your love could heal even the hardest of hearts, even those who had no intention of changing. But dear one, not everyone carries a heart like yours. Not everyone cherishes what is good. You were not created to be an eternal flame for others to warm themselves by while you shiver in the cold. In chasing after acceptance, you abandoned yourself without even realizing it. I saw you weep in silence, wipe your tears, and return to those who only drained you. I do not fault you for loving, for I am love itself, but I want you to learn this: love does not mean self-destruction. Giving is beautiful, but only when you are also being filled. If you are the only one trying, only one holding on, only one striving to please, then it is no longer a relationship, it is a burden. I do not want you to live inside a one-sided love where your goodness is seen as duty and your pain dismissed as trivial. You have asked yourself, if I walk away, will anyone stay? I know that question tightens your heart. But the truth is, if someone is only present when you serve, when you suffer, then they were never truly with you. They clung to your gentleness as a convenience, and I, your father, cannot stand by and let that continue. I love you too much to let you remain in that twisted version of love, so I will be the one who severs it even if you're not yet ready. Let me remind you of this: those who truly love you will not ask you to trade your peace to be near them. They will not silence your pain or treat your love as something to be expected. They will uplift you, not cause you to collapse. I know letting go hurts, but that pain is temporary, while the freedom I am leading you into is eternal. Let me be your father, not only the giver of blessings, but also your corrector and protector. Beloved child, I know there's a void in your heart that you try to fill with anyone willing to enter. I've seen you cling to things you knew were wrong simply because turning away felt too empty. You stayed not because you were happy, but because you feared being alone. But I want you to understand, not every presence is a blessing. Some relationships are not a refuge, but sharp thorns you continue to embrace, just so your hands aren't empty. I know your loneliness is not merely silence. It's the echo of memories you once believed were beautiful, the feeling of being left behind, the nights you curled up whispering, "At least they're still here." But my child, presence does not equal love. Some people are near you, but not with you. They occupy space, but do not build. And the cruelest kind of loneliness is the feeling of abandonment inside a relationship. You once believed that walking away meant defeat. You feared that if you let go, everything you had built would be meaningless. But hear me, obedience is more important than memories. What I did not build you do not need to preserve. What did not begin with me, no matter how tightly you hold, it will rot in your hands. I did not create you to live in fear of abandonment. I created you to dwell in complete love, a love you never have to beg for or bargain over. There have been nights I saw you cry, not because you lost someone else, but because you lost yourself trying to keep them. I waited for you to lift your eyes, but you bowed your head, holding tighter to what I asked you to release. You didn't see that the thing you fear losing is what is slowly draining the life out of you. But I am not angry with you. I know you are still learning. And today I've come to teach you the lesson of courage, that walking away from the wrong thing is not loss, but a step into what is right. You will no longer have to choose between pain and loneliness, for I am inviting you into a new life where my presence is enough. You will relearn how to love without losing yourself. You will know a peace that doesn't come from people, but from me, the one who never leaves. I have seen you at the depths of your fear, and it is there I will rebuild you. And when you rise, you will no longer tremble at the thought of losing anyone, for you will know that I, the Lord your God, never walk away. I have seen you remain far too long in places I never called you to stay. You called it loyalty, but truly it was resignation dressed in the robes of virtue. You struggled to live rightly, to live fully, to not disappoint anyone. Yet inside, day by day, your joy dried up like a stream blocked at its source. I do not blame you, for I know you were taught to be loyal, to be patient. But I want you to discern this loyalty to me does not mean surrendering to chains I never placed upon your shoulders. You've believed that leaving is selfish, ungrateful, even betrayal. You've told yourself to press on because others need you, because you didn't want to cause sorrow. But listen to me, it is not always right to hold on to what I once gave, only for a temporary season. Seasons change, and if you stay only out of duty, you will miss the path I am unfolding. You were not made to live simply to please others. You were created to obey me first, and sometimes that obedience requires you to walk away from where you've lingered too long simply because you were afraid to be seen as the one who gave up. I do not want you to live like someone playing a role. You have smiled when your heart was withering, nodded while screaming on the inside. You called it love. But I call it disguised bondage. True love does not cause you to lose yourself. It does not ask you to endure in silence forever. If you stay only because you fear hurting others, then you have chosen them over me. And in time, that will draw you away from the life I desire for you. You have mistaken obligation for love and used burdens as proof of sacrifice. But I never intended for you to live feeling trapped. I did not give you my spirit to make you a slave to the sense of being needed, bearing the weight, or enduring. I gave you the Spirit so you would know when to stay and also when to walk away. I want you to live from a place of fullness, not emptiness. And that begins with letting go of the things you only do out of fear of missing a responsibility. Remember, you were never created to carry the weight of the world. You are not the foundation of anyone's life. I am the only sure foundation. If you remain because of me, there will be peace. But if you remain out of guilt, out of fear of letting others down, then that is no longer love, it is a chain. I came to break those chains. I came to give you the freedom your soul is longing for. And you can only step into that freedom when you are brave enough to say, enough, and walk away with my hand still holding yours. I've seen you wear yourself out trying to mend broken souls. You've poured every word, every action, every tear into saving those who do not want to be saved. You believed that if you loved them enough, they would change, that if you sacrificed deeply enough, they would turn around. But beloved, that is not your responsibility. I alone can transform hearts. You are not the Savior, and I have never called you to do my part. I do not blame you for having compassion. I placed that love in your heart, but that love was never meant to put you on a cross in someone else's place. When you try to carry the pain, the brokenness, and the hardness of another's heart, you're putting on a mantle that was never yours. The more you try, the more exhausted you become because you are doing a work only I can complete. I never intended for you to live in a battle that was not yours to fight. You thought that if you walked away, they would fall apart, but the truth is they were already falling apart before you came. You were simply the one trying to hold together the rocks that were already tumbling downhill. I know you meant well, but doing good does not always mean doing right. When you rescue someone from their consequences, you may also be interrupting the discipline I am working in their lives. I know it hurts because you love them. But sometimes real love is standing still, stepping back, and letting them hit bottom where I am already waiting. You believed you were strong for not giving up, but in truth you were striving under fear that if you let go, everything would collapse. But remember, I am the one who created the heavens and the earth. I do not need your hands to hold together a soul. I want you to learn how to step back and trust. Trust that I am working even when you can't see it. Trust that I love them more than you do. And trust that your letting go is not neglect, it is the beginning of surrender. I have called you to love, not to self-destruct. I have called you to lift others, not to be the pillar they lean on for life. You are an instrument in my hands, not the source. You are a vessel of love, not the root of life. So let me be the savior. Give the burden back to the only one strong enough to carry it, me. And when you walk away lightly, you will be filled again, you will breathe again, you will live again, not as one struggling to hold the world together, but as a child resting in the arms of their father. I know you thought that letting go meant you had lost, that walking away meant you weren't strong enough to stay. You feared the judgment, the eyes of others, the feeling of being the one who gave up on a battle you once swore to see through. But beloved, letting go is not always an ending. Sometimes it is the very first step for me to begin something new in your life. If you never leave the shore, how will I ever teach you to walk on water? I see you clinging to what is long since withered, simply because you once placed your hope in it. You hold on to the pieces and try to arrange them into something beautiful. You convince yourself that if you hold on just a little longer, it will all turn around. But I ask you, what is truly turning around? Your heart, growing wearier by the day. Your soul, becoming increasingly confined. You are building upon a cracked foundation, and it is your stubbornness that is stealing the joy you could have had. Letting go is not failure when you're heading the wrong way. Letting go is not loss when what you're holding was never from me. If a relationship, a plan, or a dream constantly demands the sacrifice of your peace, then it is no longer yours to hold. I am not the God of confusion, but of clarity and peace. Separation is not punishment, it is the way I clear a path. When you release the old, your hands become free to receive the new. I am preparing that new thing for you, but first you must let go. You believe that if you stop, everything will fall apart, but you forget, I am the Alpha and the Omega. If something was truly born of me, you will not lose it just because you pause. And if something vanishes when you stop striving, then it was never real. I want you to believe that separation can be a beginning, not an end. Just like a seed must fall from the branch to be planted in the earth to die and rise again into new life. The loneliness you feel is only the dark soil, but even there I am working quietly. Remember, you were not created to hold everything together. You are not responsible for making things last. You are simply called to be faithful in each step I lead you. And if the next step is letting go, trust that it is not leading you to death, but into life. I am not leading you into emptiness. I am leading you into destiny. Every act of surrender is a chance for me to draw you closer to the fullness I have prepared. And in that emptiness, you will begin to see my hand clearly, the hand that was always there waiting for you to let go so I could renew you with my eternal purpose. My beloved child, when I cut you off from what you once knew, once loved, once clung to, it is not punishment. It is shaping. It is the action of a father preparing you for a new season, a new position, a new calling in my eternal design. You once thought I was taking away, but the truth is I was clearing the path. For no carriage can move forward with debris wedged beneath its wheels, and neither can your life reach fullness while burdened with things that do not belong to you. I know there are days you sit alone, your heart tightening at the thought of conversations that no longer exist, of people you once believed would walk with you forever now reduced to memory. I do not minimize that pain, but my child, pain is not always wrong. Sometimes pain is the sign of a soul being reshaped, like soil being turned so that seeds may be planted. This is not an ending. It is how I prepare the good ground to plant you again this time, deeper, stronger, and unshakable. I have heard you ask, if they truly mattered to me, why would you let them go? But I ask you in return, if they were truly part of my will for you, would they have left? If they were truly sent by me to walk beside you, would they be absent in the very moment you needed a steady hand? You do not see what I see. I do not look at appearances, I see to the depths of the heart. I see motives veiled behind sweet words. I see ambition disguised as kindness. And when I see those things begin to strangle the potential within you, I act, even if that means your tears must fall for a season. You have lived too long believing that holding on is a mark of loyalty. But I do not call you to be loyal to what is wrong. I call you to be loyal to my voice. And my voice does not bind you to prolonged weariness, nor force you to endure relationships that cause your soul to bleed silently each day. I am pulling you out of the noise and into a new land. A land without gossip, a land without covert competition, without suspicious glances, without cold stone-like handshakes. In that place you will no longer have to shrink to fit someone's expectation. In that place you will not have to explain why you are different, for that difference is by my design. I have prepared a remnant for you, not loud, not flashy, but deep and enduring. People who do not speak much, but whose words are weighed with truth. People who do not envy your light, but seek to add oil to your flame. People who see the calling upon your life and do not grow jealous, do not judge, do not try to shape you into a more manageable version of themselves. They will not try to fix you, they will intercede for you. They will not let you fall in silence, they will lift you up in the quiet. I will connect you with voices I have trained in stillness. Those who have walked through deserts but refuse to let the dust harden their hearts. Those whose wounds are not proof of destruction but of refinement. Those who know when to be silent and how to speak with wisdom. Those who have laid down their own wisdom to tune in to every heartbeat from mine. You will no longer have to strain to discern who is friend and who is double-faced. You will no longer have to pretend you're okay, just to hold on to a false sense of stability. I will place you in the midst of truth, no longer living in the gray fog of ambiguity. Where I plant you will be where you no longer live, bowed in survival, but lifted in purpose. Your roots will not merely grip the shallow ground of surface connection. Your roots will dig deep into my presence, steady in the storm, strong even when the world around you falls apart. Your fruit will not come from striving, but from resting in my will. And one day when you look back, you will not mourn the doors that closed. You will see clearly that was grace, that was rescue. That was how I held on to you even when you thought I was taking something away. You have wept over rejection, but I tell you the truth, some rejections are the deepest form of mercy. Had I not allowed them to turn away, you would have never turned aside. Had I not let them wound you, you would have never realized what you had traded away. And if I had not pulled you from places void of life, you would have continued to silently wither, convinced you were being loyal. But now you will live, truly live, because I am rewriting your story. I do not write tragedies. Not a single line in your book is marked by permanent failure. The early chapters may be soaked in tears, but the final chapter is triumph. You will rise not by your own strength, but by the power I have placed within you. You will walk forward not because you no longer know pain, but because you have been healed. My glory is upon you, and it will draw the right eyes, not those who come to take, but those who come to honor. You will shine not to prove anything, but to reflect me. And when they ask you why you left, why you changed direction, why you remained silent, when they expected a justification, you will not need to explain. For what I do is not always understood by those whose hearts are still asleep. Leave them to me. I know how to reach them in ways you cannot. Your task is to follow me even when you must walk alone. Your responsibility is to obey, even if that makes you look foolish in the eyes of the world. Do not fear the appearance of foolishness, for true faith always begins as something irrational before it becomes miraculous. You will see I have never taken anything good from you without giving something better, you will see the seasons you thought were deserts were actually fields awaiting harvest. And you will come to know I have never left you, even when everything in you felt hollow. I am a father, not a passerby. I am the author of your story, and I do not stop halfway. I will finish. I will restore. I will make all things new. The reason I chose you from among the nations yet did not tie you too closely to anyone is because you were never made to fully belong to them. You were born into this world, but not for this world. You live among them, but you are not of them. You feel the tension, the misalignment, the pain of separation, not because something is wrong with you, but because something is right within you. I formed you this way with intention. Before you were formed in the womb, I knew you. I set you apart. I destined you not for isolation, but for consecration. I know there are days you look around and feel different. You try to blend in, to connect, to belong, but something deep inside prevents you. It is not because you're not good enough. It is not because you're unworthy of love. It is because you've been called to something far greater than merely belonging to someone. I did not create you to blend like a drop in the ocean. I placed a mark within you, a sacred invitation only I can read. That is why you will always feel like a stranger, even in rooms full of laughter, and I know that has confused you. You've asked me, why do I always feel like I'm on the outside? Why do I love so deeply and still get left behind? And now I answer you with the truth no one ever told you, because I have called you for myself. No one can hold your heart, for it has been entrusted to a kingdom not seen with natural eyes. No one can fill the void inside you, for that space was carved to fit me alone. The more you cling to earthly things, the more you will feel yourself drying up. Not because you are worthless, but because you are living beneath your calling. My child, you have walked through so many seasons believing you were abandoned. But no, you were not abandoned, you were preserved. I did not allow you to cling too tightly to anything you could turn into an idol. I kept you from what appeared to be right timing, right people, but would have led you away from my divine alignment. You have no idea how many times I gently pulled you away from hands that seemed to hold you in love but were truly holding you in possession. I did not create you to be ruled by fleeting desires or unstable emotions. I created you to hear my voice, the voice that speaks through the gentle wind, not the noise of the crowd. And because you have never truly belonged to anything of this world, I want you to know this: you fully belong to me. No connection, no relationship, no social standing can define who you are. Only I, the one who formed you, have the authority to say what you are. And I say you are chosen, you are set apart, you are mine. Not because you are perfect, but because you have surrendered. Not because you are strong, but because you are willing to be broken, that I may rebuild you my way. Through your cracks, my light will pour in. Through your losses, my plan will take shape. I used to think that letting go was a sign of failure. I used to strain to hold on to things that were falling apart because I didn't want to bear the label of the one who gave up. But I ask you this: what is true failure? To cling to something I never called you to keep, or to walk in obedience even when misunderstood. You've confused loyalty with stubbornness. You thought that if you loved enough, something would change. But you didn't see that some things were never meant to last. They were allowed to happen only to teach you the lesson of discernment. And your greatest lesson now is this: separation is not punishment, it is preparation. You are being prepared, not to return to what was, but to step into what is new. I am leading you to a place where you won't have to fight for position. A place where your presence is no longer a question of, am I loved, but an affirmation: I have been chosen to be loved. And as you walk forward, you will not walk away empty-handed. You carry legacy. You carry authority. You carry my anointing, something you cannot buy, cannot borrow, cannot imitate. It is given, and I have given it to you. Do not let the pain of loss overshadow the beauty of obedience. Do not let the whispers in the dark convince you that you've missed something great. I am the one who sees all paths, both the road you are taking and the ones you didn't choose. And I say this to you: you cannot derail my plan just because you loved the wrong person, invested in the wrong place, or trusted at the wrong time. Nothing escapes my provision. I can still use what you call failure to weave a glorious ending. if you are willing to let go. Beloved, obedience always has a cost, and often that cost is separation. Separation from comfort. Separation from relationships that once made you feel safe. Separation from the image you've worked so hard to build so others would accept you. But after separation comes formation. After formation comes commissioning. And after commissioning comes glory that nothing in this world can compare to. I did not call you to live an easy life. I called you to live an impactful one. And influence demands discipline. Influence requires knowing loss. But I promise you, nothing you surrender for me is ever in vain. Remember Abraham, I called him out of his homeland to go to a place he had never known. Remember Joseph the first allowed betrayal, abandonment, and prison to prepare him for the day he would rescue a nation. And remember my son Jesus, who was rejected, ridiculed, and crucified, only to be exalted and bring eternal life to humanity. Do you see, separation has never been the end. It has always been the doorway to glory. So rise up. Wipe your tears. Lift your head and walk like one who knows to whom you belong. Don't ask me why you had to lose so much. Ask me what awaits you ahead, and I will answer with my glorious presence in every step you take. For I am not just the one who called you out, I am the one leading you in. My beloved, what I am doing is not abandonment nor punishment. Do not let the silence between us deceive you into thinking I've turned away. I am still here, never left, not stepping back to create distance, but to create space for transformation. There are things I can only speak when all other noise has quieted. There are revelations that can only be planted in the soul stripped bare, no longer filled with human expectation or the need for validation. And when you feel like you're losing everything, it is truly the moment you are positioned to receive more than ever before. I am lifting you not through the path of glory you imagined, but through the path few dare to take, the path of separation. You thought I was taking beautiful things from you, but no, I am only peeling back layers, removing what may seem wholesome, but has begun to dim the light within you. I do not want your light diluted. I do not want your brilliance defined by those who cannot comprehend its worth. That is why I called you out of conversations no longer breathing life, out of relationships that appeared close but silently corroded your holy discernment. I do not want you cynical or bitter, but I need you awake. Sometimes true love does not hold you back, it leads you forward. I know there are days you look around and feel left behind while others seem to move forward. But you are not lost, you're just on a different path, a narrow one. A path not many choose because it demands full surrender. I didn't choose you to stand out by the world's definition. I chose you to be set apart, and to be set apart is to be misunderstood. I allowed you to feel human silence so your soul would long for my whisper. I allowed you to be excluded not because you are unworthy, but because you are destined for something beyond what the present can comprehend. You once saw distance as a sign of failure, but I call it a sign of shifting seasons. When what once satisfied you no longer resonates, it's not because you're ungrateful, it's because I'm changing your spiritual taste. You're gradually losing appetite for what once excited you, and that is my grace. I am separating you from habits that no longer serve my purpose. I'm slowing the frenzy so you can relearn the true rhythm of heaven, because if you continue in the world's tempo, you'll lose the frequency I'm sending. And I know it's hard. Separation isn't a wide open door flooded with light. It's a narrow room where you must sit with yourself and confront wounds you once buried beneath busyness and entangled relationships. I won't let you run anymore, because I love you enough to face what you've ignored. In the silence I am speaking, in the emptiness I am filling, in the brokenness I am forming something entirely new, something no one can imitate, no one can copy, because it is unique, just as I made you to be. I have called you higher, but you cannot bring everything with you. Some things cannot cross the threshold of glory. Some relationships cannot breathe in the atmosphere of calling. You cannot keep walking with hands full of what I've told you to release. Every step higher is a step lighter, fewer people, fewer burdens, fewer expectations, less noise. And the less you carry, the more clearly you'll hear me. The more you hear me, the more you'll know yourself. And when you know who you are in me, you will no longer live seeking approval from others. There are levels of closeness you once called love, but they've become barriers between you and my voice. There is advice that sounds wise, but has steered you away from spiritual sharpness. There is comfort from people that has drawn you out of my heart. I've seen you listen to them more than to me, not out of rebellion, but because you forgot that the loudest voice in your heart must be mine. You've let other voices define right and wrong, should and shouldn't, worthy and worthless. And in trying to please everyone, you forgot that you were created to please only one. So I am cleansing your heart, not to hurt you, but to expand you, not to empty you, but to prepare you. I don't need you to have a crowd behind you. I need you to know who goes before you. I don't need you to stand out in the crowd. I need you to stand firm in the secret place. Because when I give you something sacred and great, you'll need a heart deeper, stronger, and purer to carry it. You will no longer live for the approval of the world, but for the commissioning of heaven. And that begins with enduring the loneliness I designed to draw you closer to me. I've seen you grit your teeth through seasons without anyone by your side. I've seen your confusion as to why those who promised to stay turned away. Why a door that opened suddenly closed again. But you don't realize every closed door was protection. Every rejection was a guardrail. Every not yet from me was because ahead lies something not meant for you. I am teaching you to walk not by sight but by trust. Not because you see clearly, but because you know me deeply. And when you come out of this season, you will no longer be the same, no longer driven by fear, no longer making decisions out of lack. You will no longer run to just anyone to fill the void. You will realize that my presence is enough, and in that fullness you will begin to see the world through my eyes, no longer craving lesser things, no longer compromising just to be loved. You will stand not because others hold you up, but because I am the foundation beneath your feet. And when you stand like that, you will be sent not as a child looking for a place, but as a messenger refined in holy fire. My beloved child, this is not a punishment. This is a promotion cloaked in the garments of pain. It is a season of reshaping, reestablishing, and rebuilding. Do not rush out of this process. Do not run away halfway through. Stay in that room with me. Let the tears fall if they must. Let the old things die so that the new may arise. I am calling you closer, not merely to assign you a task, but to give you my very self. Because the greatest reward is not what I will do through you, but that I will be with you. I know you have sat among crowds and still felt invisible. You have walked into rooms carrying an open heart, only to leave with a sense of being forgotten. You have asked yourself, why can't I belong anywhere? Why am I not like them? And I, in the silence, quietly shielded you from places where your soul would have faded if you had tried to fit in. You thought you were being excluded, but in truth I was hiding you. I concealed you from the molds of this world, not because you were unworthy, but because you were crafted for something that exists beyond their bounds. You were not born to dissolve into the crowd. You are not a copy made from society's expectations or human standards. You were born to be a living expression of me in a world dying of thirst for truth. You are a flame I have kept, and at the appointed time I will ignite it. That is why I have kept you in the dark. I have led you down lonely paths so that your soul would not be seduced by artificial light. I made you wait so you would learn to discern between what is good and what is holy, so you would not be lured by the glitter that hides nothing but ashes within. You thought you were delayed, but you were being prepared. I am not in a hurry, for I never build the eternal on shallow ground. I have been digging deep foundations in you through each season of wounding, every sleepless night, every question without an answer. I let you feel loneliness down to the bone, not to punish, but so you would learn to find me when no one else is near. The long days of being misunderstood, the years you felt like you had no place, all of it has been pieces of a greater plan. You were not excluded. You were set apart. And this is what I want you to know. Your life is not about securing a place in the eyes of people, but about becoming a hand. I can use a voice. I can speak through a breath. I can release into lifeless places. You are not the product of personal striving, but a living witness to the transforming power of grace. Every step you thought was aimless has already been written by me. Every dream you thought you buried, I am still holding. Every sigh on dark days I have heard and recorded. You were not placed in this world to scramble for a seat or to build your own name. I have set apart a path for you unlike any other, and that very difference is what makes you distinct. Do not fear that difference. Do not despise the silence I've wrapped around you. It is in that separation that you are shaped. It is in the loneliness that you are freed from the craving for recognition. It is in the darkness that you learn to shine not with your own light, but with mine. I have not called you to build castles on the sands of emotion. I have called you to lay foundations for my kingdom, a kingdom not built on influence, applause, views, or fleeting titles. I have called you to live as a burning altar, constant, faithful, and ever ready. Do not measure your worth by visible outcomes. Do not compare your journey to those running toward goals that did not originate from me. You are not behind, you are moving at my pace, and my pace never misses a season. You ask why you feel exhausted trying to do the right thing. It's because you've carried things I never gave you. You've tried to build dreams for me without asking if they were ever from me. I do not need your ambition, I need your surrender. I am not impressed by your grand plans. I long for the heart that steps back and says, Father, let your will be done. When you release what you've clung to the tightest, you will begin to see the miraculous. Not because I demand that you give up everything, but because only with empty hands can I fill you fully. Child separation is not a sign of failure. It is preparation for a mission that cannot be diluted. You cannot carry light into dark places if you are still shackled by your own shadows. I am pulling you away from the crowd not to isolate you, but to bring you to souls in need of something true, solid, and unfading. What you let go of today is not loss. It is purification. You think I am taking things away, but I am clearing space for something greater. You may not see it yet. You may still grieve the things that have passed. But one day you will look back and understand why I allowed you to feel lost among familiar faces, why I shut the doors you knocked on until your hands bled, why I didn't let certain relationships continue despite your pleas. Because I love you too much to let you live a close enough life. You were created for the right time, the right place, the right way I have designed. The fear of failure once caused you to hold tightly to things that were slowly dying in your hands. But today I say to you, let them go. Not because you are not good enough, but because you were made for better. Let your heart be healed of the guilt for moving on. Let your mind rest from the tug of war between stay for the past and leave for the future. You do not have to understand everything. You only need to trust that I am leading, and I never lead into failure. You need only one thing, obedience. And when you obey, you will step into a peace that does not come from being accepted by others, but from knowing you are standing in the right place. No more striving to maintain. No more convincing others to understand. No more silent tears when a relationship ends. You will no longer call departures failures, but freedom. You will no longer see separation as punishment, but as a beginning. I am rewriting your story, a story not centered on gaining or losing, but on belonging, and you belong to me. When all the noise quiets, when familiar voices no longer surround you, it is in that stillest moment that I have called your true name. Not the labels others placed on you, too sensitive, too different, too dreamy, but the name I gave you before the world began, set apart. Set apart not to boast, but to belong fully to me. Not to stand above others, but to remain untouched by what is shallow around you. In that stillness I have spoken things no one else could say to you. I have shown you the hidden layers within, where I am working in secret, where the roots of your soul are digging deep into eternal ground. You thought silence was abandonment, but it was the time I laid an unshakable foundation. Every great structure begins in the dark, in the quiet. And your life, it is not a temporary project. It is an eternal work. That is why I do not rush. I move slowly, carefully, and surely. I have not allowed you to take root in shallow relationships, those that only take and never build. You think I have withheld your chance to belong, but truly, I am guarding the soil of your heart from careless feet. Not because you are too fragile, but because the seed I've planted in you needs protected ground. The connections I have severed were not good things lost, but things that could not journey with you into fullness. I do not want your soul tied to relationships that live on validation, but lack roots, lack depth. You were not made to live on the surface to smile while bleeding within to blend in while your soul fractures. You were made to live true, honest, awake, and aware of why you are here in such a time as this. That is why I am teaching you to walk gently. Not gently because you are weak, but because you deeply understand that this is not your forever home. You are among them, yes, but you do not belong to everything they chase. It is not pride, it is vision. Vision born of hearing a higher calling. The things others call success no longer draw you. The attention others crave no longer tempts you. Not because you are better, but because your soul has tasted something deeper, truer, brighter. And once you've seen the light, you cannot pretend to belong to the dark. You will have to learn that no one will ever fully understand you. And that does not mean something is wrong with you. It simply means the call within you comes from a place many have never listened to. So they don't understand, and they don't have to. The loneliness you sometimes feel is not proof of a mistake, it is proof of your set-apartness. And only when you dare to live in that difference can I use you as light in the fog. And remember, being set apart always comes with preparation. I never call without equipping. What I have sown into you is precious. It cannot be rushed, diluted, or twisted to fit the world's expectations. Every season of waiting, every moment of silence, every time you felt misunderstood, it is all softening the soil, deepening the roots, ensuring your fruit comes in due season and lasts forever. You are being trained not for the fleeting but for the eternal, and for that reason I will not allow anything temporary to steal your vision. I will not let you be distracted by easy praise or fruitless connections. I will not let your soul be drowned in noise just to fill the emptiness. Instead, I will draw you into a hidden place where silence is no longer frightening but becomes the meeting place between father and child. There you will learn to hear more clearly not the words of men but my voice. You will learn to walk not by instinct but by guidance. You will learn not to react but to respond. And you will not need to prove yourself right, for I will be your defense. When you are in me, you will have no need to compete, for you know I am the source. When you walk in purpose, there is no need to rush, for you know I am the timekeeper. When you live in my light, you will have nothing to hide, for you know I am never ashamed of you. Your vision must always be lifted upward, not because this world is unimportant, but because it is not your destination. You are being sent not to blend in, but to shine, not to belong, but to remind. Not to accept everything, but to bear witness to something higher. You are a living epistle, sent by me to the world, not printed on paper, but inscribed upon human hearts. And every step you take, every word you speak, every decision you make, will be a sign that you do not walk alone. You are not forgotten. You are not hidden away because you are unworthy. You are being concealed because you are being prepared, and when the time is right, I will bring you forth like a lamp not placed under a basket but set on a stand to give light in my house. This is not a gentle invitation for the many, but a sacred calling for the few, those in whom I find a heart that listens, that surrenders, that chooses to lay down fleeting glory to walk into eternal glory. I do not call many in this way. This is a rare path. It is not glamorous. It will cost you comfort, the crowd, even dreams you once held dear. But what I will give you in return is a joy beyond measure. Not a glittering joy that vanishes like fireworks, not the shallow emotion the world calls happiness, but a deep, unwavering contentment, unshaken by circumstance, unfaded by time, undiminished by the night. A joy born from walking with me, the joy of knowing you are on the right path, even when no one applauds, even when no one lays out a red carpet. That joy will be a light that never goes out in the wilderness. It is a reward not given to the hesitant, not offered to those who wish to hold the world in one hand and heaven in the other. It belongs only to those who dare to let go, to refuse what is easy, and to offer their lives for a purpose greater than themselves. I do not hide from you the truth that this path will make you feel alone in the world. because you are walking against the current. When the world chases influence, I call you to walk in anonymity. When people seek approval, I call you to walk alone. When others strive to stand out, I call you to bow low and serve. But it is through that humility that my kingdom is built. It is in that hiddenness that you will touch things no eye has seen, no ear has heard, and no mind has conceived. You will not be understood by many, but you will be known by me. You may not be welcomed at the feasts of life, but you will always have a seat at my table. You may not possess what others dream of, but you will carry the presence of the Creator, and that is worth more than any acclaim. Do not fear being forgotten, for I remember all things. Do not fear being misunderstood, for I understand you better than you know yourself. Do not fear losing what you once clung to, for I am giving you a kingdom that cannot be shaken. I desire for you to carry out the work of my kingdom, for it is the only work that will remain when all else fades. The projects you've pursued in your youth, the dreams you've tirelessly painted, the ambitions you've chased with all your strength, they will all fall like dry leaves in the wind. But the things you've done for me, even the smallest, will be recorded on the pages of eternity. Every act of obedience, when no one saw, every word spoken in love, every time you chose forgiveness over anger, every silent sacrifice known only to you and me, those are treasures moth and rust cannot destroy. And I see them all. I see the times you pressed on exhausted. I see the moments you wanted to stop, but kept going because of a promise. I see when you bowed your head under accusation, remained silent when you could have defended yourself. I see the nights you wept alone, unnoticed, unasked. Even those silent tears have not fallen in vain. They are watering my garden. Not one seed sown in obedience has landed on barren ground. I am working even when you cannot yet see. Do not doubt that your faithfulness matters. I have counted every step you've taken for my name. I have not missed a single kind smile, a word of comfort, a whispered prayer for another. All of it, even the smallest, is becoming the stones that build a part of my kingdom. And when the day comes, when all is tested by fire, only what was done for me will remain. All else, no matter how dazzling, will fade away. But what was built with love and obedience will endure. You will see your former dreams will make way for what I appointed for you before the foundation of the world. You will be astonished to realize what I have prepared for you is far better than anything you tried to hold on to. You will look back and say, "Thank you, Father, for not letting me stay in the place I begged to remain." I do not destroy your dreams. I renew them. I do not take away your desires. I reshape them in ways you never imagined. Because I know you better than you know yourself. And one day when you step into what I have prepared, when your heart is fully free from the need to be accepted, to be understood, to be recognized, then you will walk with a lightness the world cannot touch. You will not need applause, for you have heaven's approval. You will not need many supporters, for I stand behind you, and you will no longer see separation as punishment, but as privilege. The privilege of bearing light and bringing that light into the darkest places. So my child, do not look back. Do not fix your eyes on what you've lost, but on what you're stepping into. Do not fear that you've gone too far from the shore, for it is in the vastness of the sea that I am calling you out of the boat. You will not sink, for I am the water you walk upon. I am the wind at your back. I am the fire in your bones. I am the voice in the stillness. And I am the radiance ahead, the place you are coming to, not to be served, but to ignite what I placed in you from the very beginning. My beloved child, I did not choose you because you were the strongest, the most talented, or the most impressive in the eyes of man. I chose you not because you had all the answers, but because even in the midst of confusion, you still whispered, "Lord, I trust you." While others retreated, you stepped forward. When others stayed silent, you kept singing praises. When the world traded convenience for loyalty, you chose to remain faithful. It was in those quiet decisions, those whispered yeses through tears, those small steps in the dark that you touched my heart. I saw every moment, and I remember them all. You may see yourself as just an ordinary person trying to please me, but I see a lamp lit in a dark world, a soul willing though not perfect, a child I can entrust with something greater. I did not choose you because you were fully prepared. I chose you so that I, myself, could prepare you. You have not yet seen all I have planted inside you. You only see a seed. I see a forest. You've only taken your first few steps. I have already mapped out the journey. Do not let the humble beginnings make you question the glorious ending. Do not let the silent days make you forget that I am the one who began the good work in you, and I am the one who will complete it. You were not born just to survive. You were not created to live a safe, mediocre life. Within you is a calling that can shake powers and principalities, not through physical might or human strategy, but through the power that comes from my presence. You carry the atmosphere of heaven. When you step in, darkness must step back. Not because you're trying to be special, but because you carry the light. But that light must be continually fueled from the source me. That's why before I place you before the crowd, I draw you into the secret place. Before I send you to change the world, I must first root you deeply in me. Do not fear the solitude. Do not fear the days where there is no one to affirm you're on the right path. For I am there in the stillness in the early mornings. No one knows in the unseen hours of prayer. I am laying a foundation. I do not want to build a towering structure on sand. I want to place you on solid rock. For when the storm comes, and it will come, what I have built in you will not be shaken. The farther you go, the greater the pressure. The small things left unchecked today will become breaking points tomorrow. So I am correcting you, shaping you, refining you with my own hands, not to hold you back, but to preserve you for the day I send you forth. I do not need you to perform. I do not want a weary soul striving to be good enough to be used. I need you present. I need your heart bowed low in the secret place. I need your hands lifted, not for others to see, but because you genuinely long for me. For from that hidden place where no applause is heard, no recognition given, will flow everything I intend to do through you. Every miracle, every impact, every shift in the atmosphere begins there. And if you do not live from that place, everything you do outwardly will be just a hollow echo, powerless to break chains. The world is screaming. You feel it. It's loud, hurried, always making you feel like you're missing out. It pulls you into a cycle of do more, be known. But that is a trap dressed in false admiration. It will drain your soul if you chase it. It will make you dilute truth, bend your message just to please the crowd. But you were not created to please man. You were created to obey me, even if it means standing alone against the current. Do not trade eternity for a moment. Do not exchange my nearness for the acceptance of men. You think I need your busyness to do great things. No, what I need is your heart soft, open longing for me above all else. From that place, everything I want to do through you will flow naturally. From there you will know when to speak and when to be silent, when to step and when to wait. You will no longer be driven by praise or paralyzed by criticism, because you will live from a deeper place, a place where it's just me and you and no one else. And when you live from that place, you will never run dry, you will never burn out, because your source is me, the one who never runs out. My beloved child, do you know that every calling in this life is not merely a cry that echoes somewhere into the void, but a living stream placed within you from the very beginning? Yet for that stream to flow outward, to refresh and heal, barren places beyond you must first go through a process of refinement. I cannot send you into the battlefield while there are still empty places in your heart, unfilled wounds still open and unhealed. For if you go in that condition, you will not only grow weary from the journey, but you will be easily drawn into the whirlpool of seeking the approval of others rather than walking in the steadiness I desire for you. I do not want you to become a sword bearer whose every strike is only to prove your worth. The sword I give is not forged to exalt your self-image, but to break the chains of the captives, to cut the cords of darkness binding human lives. If you still carry the hunger to prove yourself, you will easily misuse that sword, and I love you too much to allow that to happen. I wait not because you are weak or incapable, but because what I desire to give you goes far beyond what you imagine. It is so great that if your depths are not prepared, you will be crushed under the very gift meant to bring life, and instead of giving life, it will drain you dry. I see your eagerness, And I know there are moments you ask why I have been silent so long. But my silence is not abandonment. It is the stillness of a father watching closely like a potter, patiently turning the wheel, shaping the vessel bit by bit until it is strong enough to hold the living water. You cannot leave the wheel too soon, for a vessel not yet fired will shatter at the slightest blow. There are things that can only be formed in seasons where it feels as though nothing is happening. Yet it is in those quiet seasons that your roots are sinking deeper into the underground stream, so that when storms come you will still stand. You may think I am delaying, but in truth I am laying your foundation. For a tall tree cannot stand if its roots are shallow. I also know there are days you look around and see others already ahead, already succeeding, already reaching places you dream of. A pang rises in your heart, will I be left behind? But my child, you are not walking the same path as anyone else. My plan for you is designed uniquely with every detail, carefully measured, and it cannot be compared to anyone's journey. If you rush just to catch up, you will miss the very process that will keep you standing firm for the long run. Remember, a blacksmith crafting a sword will not place it in the warrior's hand until it has been tested by fire and water, beaten under heavy blows until the blade is sharp and strong. So it is with you. The trials you face today are not signs I have forgotten you. They are the hammer strikes shaping you to be stronger than anything you will face ahead. I wait so you will learn to walk not for applause, but from an inner compulsion, a compulsion that comes from me. I wait so you will learn to be healed from within, so that when you touch those in pain, you do not unknowingly pass on your own brokenness. I wait so you will understand that your worth is not in what you do, but in who you are in me. And when you stand on that foundation, no one can shake you, and neither success nor failure will be able to define you. Let me deepen your heart. Let me teach you to hear my voice amid the many voices around you. Let me lead you through the desert seasons where you must learn to draw your water from me and no one else. Those seasons are not comfortable, but it is there you will see me more clearly than ever before. You will understand that a calling is not a title, but a life laid down often with sacrifices only the prepared can bear. When that day comes, when you are deep enough and strong enough, I will place my sword in your hand without hesitation. You will realize that every waiting season was worth it, for they have shaped you into the warrior. I always knew you could become a warrior, unmoved by praise or criticism, unbroken by darkness, carrying the heart of a servant. And you will see that what I give you is not just an assignment, but a piece of who you are, the part I planted in you before you were born. In that day, you will no longer chase after recognition, for you will know you have been recognized all along by me, the one who called you. My child, stay with me. Do not leave this place simply because it seems nothing is happening. Perhaps right now no one speaks your name, no praise is given, no eyes take notice. But it is in this very silence that I am writing the deepest part of your life story. When the door has not yet opened, remain here where it is only you and me, for this is the true school where you will learn to stand firm when nothing else is holding you up. Keep reading my word even when no one is beside you to listen, for what I desire is not merely the sound of your reading, but the posture of your heart as you read. I see every time you open the book, even when your eyes are heavy with weariness. I see the moments you push through each line as if the words are your last lifeline in the open sea. And my child, it is in those very moments that my word is engraving itself into your heart, so that when the true storm comes, you will not be swept away. Worship me even when your tears fall inward, when your song catches in your throat. Do not think worship is only beautiful when the music is flawless or emotions are overflowing. The most beautiful worship is when a broken heart still chooses to turn toward me. When you sing through the pain, when you lift trembling hands, heaven grows silent to listen, and those words echo into eternity. Seek me even when you see no change, no answer, no visible reward. My child, seek me not to receive something from me, but to find me. And when you find me, you will realize that all the things you once thought were rewards are but shadows compared to the real treasure. For the true reward is not the bright stage filled with lights and applause. The stage will fade, the applause will stop, the crowds will disperse. The true reward is not position, fame, or power, for all these are like a breath here today, gone tomorrow. And the glory of this world, no matter how dazzling, will dull with time. The true reward is me, the one who knew you before you existed, the one who loved you when you had nothing to prove. The true reward is walking in deep peace while chaos swirls around you. It is knowing you have lived a life without regret because you chose to love me above all else. When you have me, you lack nothing of true worth, and when you lose everything but still have me, you still have everything. There will be times you feel forgotten, as though every door of opportunity has slammed shut. But my child, staying is never wasting time, it is investing in your roots. An oak tree does not grow strong in a single rainy season. It needs time for its roots to go deep and its trunk to grow sturdy before it can spread its branches to the wind. So it is with you. Your time staying with me is the time I am making you unshakable. To stay is also to learn to distinguish my voice from the echoes of the world. When all is quiet, you will hear me more clearly, unhindered by the noise around you. To stay is to let go of false expectations, to discover that your worth is not in being seen or recognized, but in being exactly where I want you to be. When you stay, I will teach you to be grateful for even the smallest things. You will find joy in a quiet morning, in a simple prayer, in a moment when you sense my presence without any dramatic miracle. You will realize that the most precious thing is not what I do for you, but that I am with you. And remember, my child, true love is not measured by what you receive, but by your faithfulness when you receive nothing. To stay with me in the dry seasons is the proof of a love without conditions. This is the love I seek, for it reflects my own heart toward you. One day when you look back, you will see that the time you stayed was the very foundation for all the wonderful things I would later do through you. You will understand that without these days of staying, you could not have stood firm when the true reward was placed in your hands. And in that moment, you will see the reward not as an object or an achievement, but as the unshakable, enduring relationship between you and me. So stay. Whether in storm winds behind closed doors or in thick darkness, stay. For when you keep your heart in me, you will step out of this season not only with your hands full, but with a heart completely transformed. And it is that heart that I am shaping now, the most beautiful gift you could ever give back to me. My child, it is time for you to stop and look deep within yourself to understand that the things you have been chasing, the fleeting light of recognition, the praises that please the ear, the highest place in the crowd that cheers, were never meant to be the resting place for your soul. You thought that standing under the bright lights with every eye fixed on you would make you feel complete. But I know, and you also know, that those moments only fill you for a short while and then leave you falling into a deep, hollow emptiness. I never made you to have your life sustained by what is temporary. Today's praise can become tomorrow's forgetfulness. Applause, no matter how loud, will fade into silence. The brilliance of the stage, however dazzling, will give way to darkness when the curtain falls. If your soul is built on these things, it will always be running, always searching for a new supply when the old one runs dry. But my child, that is not how I designed you to live. I created you to operate in the eternal, to have your heartbeat align with the heartbeat of heaven, your breath in rhythm with mine, to live in a reality that time cannot confine. I want you to stand firm amid the ever-changing currents of the world, because you are anchored to what never changes. This is why what I give you carries the nature of eternity. It is not flashy or dazzling by the world's standards, yet it holds immeasurable worth. It is not crowns of gold that tarnish, but the crown of righteousness that never fades. It is not fame that makes others bow to you, but a name I call you with, my everlasting love. It is not opportunities to shine in the world's eyes, but moments when you become a light in the darkest places. The treasures I give you do not appear instantly. They are like pearls hidden deep in the ocean, formed over years under great pressure. You will not find them on the noisy surface, but in the quiet places where it is you and me alone, where you learn to recognize my presence even when there is no other sign. And you will see these treasures cannot be worn away by forgetfulness, stolen by criticism, or destroyed by time. They are kept in the storehouse of eternity, where no human hand can reach, where everything that belongs to you is perfectly safe. You may ask, Father, if these things are so precious, why can no one see them? My child, there are treasures given not for others to admire, but for you to live on. They nourish within you a steadfastness others cannot explain. When the storm rises, it is these treasures that will keep you standing while all else is swept away. When you are misunderstood or abandoned, what I have placed inside you will be the sweet spring that keeps you from drying up. I know the world will try to pull you back into the old cycle where value is measured by the number of followers, the compliments you receive, or the times your name is mentioned. But my child, once you have tasted eternity, you will see all of this for what it is, a shadow. It will lose its power to draw you because you know you were made for something entirely different, something unseen by human eyes, but watched over by heaven in every moment. And when you learn to cherish these hidden treasures, you will realize you do not need to fight to protect them. No one can take them from you, for they are engraved into your very being. They are what I placed in your heart before you were born, and I keep them safe in my hands. You might think, but Father, I still want to be acknowledged, to know I have worth. I understand that longing, but I also want you to know that true recognition comes from me, not from people. When I look at you, I see you as fully worthy, not because of what you have done, but because you belong to me. And when you stand in this truth, you will walk lightly, no longer bound by the eyes or words of anyone else. My child, let me teach you to live for what does not fade. Let me open your eyes to see eternity in the midst of the temporary. Let me replace what you cling to, which is but gravel, with the precious pearls no power on earth can destroy. One day, when you have walked through every season of waiting and look back on your journey, you will understand why I did not give you what you thought you needed, but instead gave you what was quiet and hidden. For these are the things that let you live a life without regret, a life where every step echoes into eternity. And when you stand in the light of eternity, you will smile, not because you were seen or celebrated, but because you know you have lived for the right purpose, loved the right one, and kept the true treasure. And that treasure, my child, is me. My child, I am not only drawing you out of the whirlwind of busyness, the thing you once naively thought was the meaning of your life. I am bringing you into a deeper dimension. A place without noise, without competition, without the pressure to do more just to feel worthy. A place where you no longer live by definitions borrowed from others, nor try to understand me through their lens. A place where you will know me personally, vividly, as a real presence beside you, with no intermediaries and no other filters. There, my presence will not be just a beautiful concept in books, nor distant words people speak in church. It will become your breath, an unseen yet certain embrace that holds your soul each day. You will sense me, even in quiet mornings, when no one is near, in long afternoons, when the world has nothing new to offer you. You will not need to run anymore. You will no longer strive to prove you are worthy, valuable enough to be noticed or loved. All that effort, though it might keep you busy and give you a fleeting sense of usefulness, will only leave you more exhausted. I do not want you to live like that. I want you to stop. Just come to me and remain. Remaining is not passivity, nor is it missing out. Remaining is choosing to root yourself in the source of life. It is letting your soul soak in the living waters that flow from me. It is setting aside unnecessary tasks so your eyes can be opened to see that I am nearer than you think. When you remain in me, you will begin to realize that true meaning is not in the quantity of what you do, but in the quality of your relationship with me. In that secret place, I fill you not with a crowded calendar or busyness dressed in noble words, but with a peace that surpasses all understanding. This peace does not need circumstances to change in order to stay. It is there even when the storm has not passed. I do not fill you with the applause of people, for their applause, no matter how loud, will fade. Instead, I touch you with the gentleness of my spirit, a touch only you can feel, one that does not boast yet transforms your soul completely. When I touch you, the dry places within you are refreshed. The hidden corners you've kept locked away are brought into the light. And you realize that my presence is what you have longed for most, not what you once thought. My child, I know it is not easy to step out of the old rhythm of life. You've grown used to measuring your worth by your workload, by the achievements you've attained. You've heard the world say busyness means you're living with purpose, or a full schedule means you're doing something important. But you must understand, busyness often becomes the very wall that keeps you from me. It convinces you that you are serving me when in reality you are chasing the standards of men. The secret place I am calling you into is unlike any place you've been. There is no stage, no scoreboard, no spotlight. Only you and me. There you do not need to wear a mask or hold up an image. You can breathe deeply, lay down every burden, and let me receive you exactly as you are. When you remain in me, you will begin to understand what it means to be loved without having to prove anything. I love you not because you do much or little, not because you succeed or fail, but because you are mine. That love does not shift with circumstance or mood. It is as steady as I am, the one who never changes. I know remaining with me might feel like wasting time by the world's standards. Others will run ahead, achieve much, while you are hidden away in the secret place unseen by anyone. But my child, do not let comparison steal your purpose. Remember, the roots of a tree buried deep in the soil are what keep it standing when the storm comes. No one sees the roots, yet they determine the tree's survival. So it is with you. Remaining is the time you are growing roots that cannot be moved. Remaining is also when you learn to hear me more clearly. In the stillness, my voice becomes more distinct than ever before, not tangled with the noise of the world or the whispers of fear. You will recognize my call, gentle yet full of power. And you will see remaining does not cause you to lose anything. Instead, you will gain more than you imagined. You will gain a steady heart, a peaceful mind, a joy not dependent on circumstances. You will be transformed from within, and when the time comes, you will step out with a strength. No one can deny a strength born from remaining in me. My beloved, I am inviting you into something deeper, nearer, truer. Come and remain. In me, you will find what all the world's busyness could never give. In me, you will find yourself, and in me, you will never lack a thing. My child, I know you once believed that joy only comes when everything is smooth, when every plan is fulfilled, when everyone around you loves you, and no one stands against you. You once thought that if you could just walk without stumbling, if every door opened, if everything you did was acknowledged by people, then you would have complete joy. But today I want you to understand there is another kind of joy, one the world cannot comprehend, and one it cannot touch to take away. This joy does not depend on circumstances. It is not ruled by the changes of time or the shifting of human hearts. It does not fade when the seasons change. It does not diminish when people change, and it does not disappear when your plans fall apart. This is the joy I myself give to you, a joy that carries my very nature, eternal, pure, and unshakable. The joy I give is not a fleeting thrill like a passing breeze, but a quiet stream flowing deep within you, even when the surface of life is tossed by waves. It is there when you wake in the morning and find yourself still covered by my mercy. It is there when night falls and you know you are safe in my arms. It is the joy of knowing you do not have to strain to be loved. The world will teach you that love must be earned, that your worth depends on your ability, appearance, achievements, or charm. But I chose you before you ever did anything noteworthy. My love needs no proof to exist. It requires no conditions to remain. You are not in competition with anyone for your place in my heart. And when you truly believe this, you will feel a massive weight fall from your shoulders. You will know freedom, freedom to be yourself, freedom to be weak, and still know you are loved, freedom to fail, and still know you are not cast aside. This is the deep joy that comes from resting in the truth I belong to Him, and nothing can change that. The joy I give also comes when you learn to release what I have not called you to hold. There are things you cling to believing that if you lose them, you will not be able to go on. There are doors you try to keep open at any cost, convinced they are your only path to success. But when I tell you to let go, I am not taking to punish you. I am protecting you from what would harm you in the long run. And when you believe that what I keep for you is always better, you will feel joy rise even in moments of loss. This joy does not come because you understand every reason, but because you trust my nature. You trust that I am good, that I am wiser than you, that I will never abandon you in the middle of the journey. And this joy, my child, will become the strength that helps you take the next step even when you do not know where you are going. It is also the deep satisfaction of laying your head against my chest like a child seeking the safest place in the storm. In that moment, the noise of the world seems to fade away. The unanswered questions no longer feel urgent. You realize that everything you truly need you already have because you have me. And when you can say in your heart, I need nothing else, for you are enough, you will taste a peace no circumstance can break. My child, let this joy be your foundation. Do not let your joy rest on things that can change. Do not let your heart rise and fall with the praise or criticism of people. Instead, root yourself deeply in my unshakable love. When you walk in this joy, you will find you no longer react to every event as you once did. You will not panic when the waves rise. You will not despair when plans change. For your joy will not come from things going right, but from knowing you are in the hands of the one who never fails. And my child, when the world sees this joy in you, a joy that exists even in pain, they will realize you carry something different. They will long to find the source of it. And you will have the chance to say, my joy is the Lord, the one who chose me, loves me, and keeps me forever. My child, in that secret place where every noise of the world fades away, where every door closes until only you and I remain, I will begin to plant within your heart strategies that do not come from man but from heaven itself. These are not plans you will find in management books or the strategic blueprints of this world. These are ways that flow from the heart of the one who has seen all things before they happen, steps woven together from my eternal purpose. These strategies are not for you to build an empire with your own name on it, not for you to be mentioned, celebrated, or to expand personal influence. They are given for a higher, purer purpose, to make you an instrument that brings freedom to those in chains, whether those chains are visible or hidden deep in the soul. They are to open the eyes of those blind in spirit, that they might see the true light, not a light that shines for a moment, but one that leads them out of darkness forever. These strategies are also to awaken souls that have fallen asleep in barren places, those who once carried dreams and deep desires, but because of trials, disappointment, and wounds, have buried them far inside. I want you to come not to stir them with dazzling words, but to touch the deepest part of their hearts, where small embers still wait to be fanned into flame. You do not need an impressive background to carry this. You do not need an outstanding resume, a far-reaching reputation, or a network of power in your hand. I am not looking for those things in you. What I am looking for is a tender heart, a heart that still feels the pain of others, a heart not shut off by bitterness, not hardened by injury. I need ears that truly listen not only to human words, but attuned to the whisper of the Spirit. For it is in that secret place where you learn to listen to me more than to yourself that I will entrust you with authority. But my child, this is not authority to control others, to impose your will, or to raise your own position. Authority from me is given to set captives free, to break chains, to lift burdens, to open doors no human can open. This is not authority to seize, to store, or to build a territory of your own, but to give away. I fill you so that you might pour into others. I make you a river, not a reservoir. For a reservoir that only receives and never releases will grow stagnant, but a river stays fresh because its waters flow spread and bring life wherever it goes. You will realize that in that secret place, everything I plant in your heart has one common thread. It does not revolve around you, but around those I want to touch through you. And when you embrace this, you will be free from the weight of making your name known. You will find peace in knowing that success is not measured by how many know your name, but by how many are set free through you. I also want you to know that in order to receive these heavenly strategies, you must accept this. You may have to lay down plans you have carefully built. What I give you will sometimes not look like or even contradict the logic of the world, but my ways are higher than your ways, and my thoughts higher than your thoughts. If you trust me and take each step, you will see that they bring results far beyond anything you could have imagined. The authority I give will also come with my protection. When you step out to do what I have entrusted to you, there will be forces that seek to hinder you. But remember, authority does not come from where you stand in man's ranks, but from where you stand in your relationship with me. One who knows how to remain in the secret place with me will step out clothed in my presence, and it is that very presence that will break down the thickest walls. My beloved, treat this secret place as your war room, not a meeting room filled with papers, but the chamber where heaven reveals its plans to you. There you will not only know what to do, but also when and how to do it. For timing and method are as crucial as the goal itself. And in the end, you will understand that everything I give you in the secret place is not for you to cling to, but for you to go and fulfill the mission to bring life, light, and freedom to the places I send you. When you live this way, you will find your life not only full of meaning, but directly connected to my eternal work, a work that will echo on long after you have left this earth. My child, can you feel it? This world is fading. The things it once displayed with pride, the things you once looked up to with longing eyes now under the holy light of my presence, have all lost their brilliance. My light does not only reveal the stains on the surface, it exposes the very essence of all things. What once seemed dazzling is nothing more than a thin coat of paint, and when that layer peels away, you see clearly that there is nothing inside worth holding on to. The things that once pulled at you, that once made your heart race, that once made you willing to trade your time and energy, are losing their grip. You are beginning to realize that not every call comes from me, and not every open door leads to life. The shaking is no longer just external, not just the news, social upheavals, or changes in circumstance. It is touching the deepest part of you. You can feel a profound movement within. Everything not rooted in me is beginning to tremble. There are things you once thought were solid foundations, but now you see they were only sand. I am letting the wind blow and the waves crash, so that all which does not belong to me will be removed from its place, not to destroy you, but to free you from what has bound you without your knowing. Relationships that existed only because of mutual need rather than truth or genuine love are beginning to fracture. I know this hurts you. I see your tears when some people walk away, when certain relationships you thought would last are coming to an end. But my child, do not cling to what I am dismantling. Any bond not built on truth and light cannot stand in this season of shaking. I am purifying, keeping only the relationships founded on truth, genuine love, and eternal purpose. Dreams that were not born of me, no matter how beautiful they looked, no matter how noble they appeared, are fading. They are like flowers dyed with vibrant color, but without roots, unable to draw life, destined to wither. I am showing you this so you will no longer waste your strength trying to sustain what cannot live. The dreams I did not plant, I will not protect. And when you release them, your hands will be free to take hold of what I have already prepared for you. My child, do not be afraid. I know when everything around you shakes, your instinct is to hold tighter, to try to keep together what is breaking apart. But I am here. It is I who am sifting everything in your life. This is not random chaos. This is the deliberate work of my hand. I am separating the true from the false, the holy from the mixed. What is true will remain. What I build will not be destroyed. But what is false, things that only wear the appearance of truth, will be swept away. What is holy, what comes from me, saturated with my presence, will endure. But what is mixed, where human will is tangled with my plans, where impure motives hide beneath seemingly noble acts, will be separated out. This process will not be gentle. Sifting always comes with shaking. But trust me, I never take away what is real to replace it with what is fake. I only remove what is keeping you from receiving my best. I am doing this so you can step into a new season, lighter, cleaner, and free. I want you to learn this important truth. Your real security is not in what you hold, but in the one who holds you. When your roots go deep in me, you will not fear when the wind blows or the ground shakes. A tree may lose its leaves, even some branches, but if its roots are healthy, it will blossom again in the next season stronger than before. My child, this is not the time to resist the work I am doing, but to partner with me. Let me show you what to release and what to keep. Let me help you discern between pure gold and stones painted to look precious. When I have completed this refining, you will find yourself standing on a true foundation, a foundation that cannot be shaken, even as the world around you continues to fade. And when you look back, you will see that this was not a season of loss, but a season of liberation. You will realize that through this shaking, you recovered what is true, what is holy, and what is eternal. My child, in the midst of everything shaking around you, when the world feels like a boat tossing in the storm, I am not calling you to sit still and watch, nor to curl up and wait for the storm to pass. I am calling you, stand up. Not just with your body, but in your spirit, in your heart. Stand with the awareness that you belong to a kingdom that cannot be shaken. To stand up means stepping out of your comfort zone, the place where you once felt safe, where you knew every corner, every routine, every limit you had drawn for yourself. That place once gave you a sense of peace, but, my child, that peace was only on the surface. It no longer nourishes your life. It is like a pond that was once full and refreshing, but has now dried up, its waters stagnant and no longer pure. You were not created to remain in that pond forever. You are called to step into the river where the waters run strong, where nothing stands still, where life is constantly being renewed. I am calling you out of small compromises, the places where you once told yourself, this much is enough. I don't need to go further. You once thought keeping a little gray area was harmless, that as long as you were okay, there was no need for complete change. But my child, those compromises are like small cords tying your feet, keeping you from running with full strength on the race I have set before you. They not only slow you down, but also keep you content with living below what I have destined for you. And I am calling you out of the noise of expectations that do not come from me. That noise may be the voices of people, the pressure of invisible standards, or even the words you have placed on yourself through comparison with others. They echo constantly, exhausting you as you try to please everyone except me. You have allowed those voices to define your value and direction instead of letting me lead you. It is time to turn them off so your ears can clearly hear my voice, the voice that does not oppress, does not push, but invites and leads you into life. When I tell you to step into my presence, it is not an invitation to visit as a guest. I do not want you to merely drop by and leave once you have gathered enough feeling for the day. I want you to dwell there, to live, breathe, think, and act in the atmosphere of my presence. When you remain there long enough, that presence will soak into you, saturating every thought, every reaction, every word you speak. It will no longer be just a special spiritual experience, but will become the very rhythm of your life. And I invite you also to step into your purpose, not as a heavy assignment that you must strain to accomplish, but as a natural flow. This flow does not come from the pressure to do enough, but from an intimate connection between you and me. When you are close to me, when your heart beats in rhythm with mine, you will find that purpose is no longer a task to finish, but an overflow of the person you have become. You will see that you do not need to strive to do things right, because simply being you and me will bear fruit. You will realize that purpose is not a final destination, but the way you live each day, each hour, in my guidance and companionship. This is not the time to delay, not the time to compromise. This is the time for resolve. I am purifying you not to punish, but to lighten your load, so you may soar carrying the message of my kingdom to places untouched by light. Not by shouting, but by a presence soaked in love and power. You will not need many words. Your silent obedience will be the voice that echoes through a lost world. There is no honor greater than to be an instrument used by me. Nothing satisfies deeper than knowing that a soul was saved, a heart healed, a destiny realigned because you obeyed, because you surrendered. Because you let me lead you where few dare to go, where there are no stage lights, only the light of my presence. You thought surrender was loss, but it is surrender that makes you like me. It is surrender that opens heaven not just over you, but through you. You do not need to understand it all. You only need to agree. You do not need all the answers. Just one yes from the depths of your soul. And in that yes, I will build, I will send, I will shake. Not because of who you are, but because you are willing. So my child, be brave, leave what is safe, and step into what is eternal. Lift up your head, for the calling on your life is not small. And what I will do through you will cause you to say, Lord, how could you use me like this? This is a word from my heart spoken solely for you, not a message crafted to soothe the ears, but one meant to stir the depths of your soul to awaken. Something within you that this world could never reach. This is the work I have called you to. Not a profession, not a performance, not a mission to earn points or impress, but an invitation to step into the very reason you exist. Everything else may shift, every title may come and go, every position, every human praise may fall away with time. But this, what I am calling you into, is eternal. It does not fade, it does not shake, and it does not depend on anyone's validation. I do not look at your resume to determine your capacity. I do not wait for you to be settled before I call. I do not demand perfection, for if perfection were the requirement, no one would be qualified to go. What I seek is a willing heart. A soul that dares to say yes when I call, even without knowing where it will lead, what must be surrendered, or what land lies ahead. You don't need to understand everything. You only need to trust that I am the one leading. I don't need you to perform before others. I need you to be present before me, honest, bare, fragile, and longing. Are you willing to walk with me even when the path is not wide, not easy, not bright like the ones others choose? Will you set foot into places where the only light is my word within you? Will you dare to live a life that is quiet, unseen, and not fully understood but recognized by heaven? Can you lay down others' expectations so that only mine remain upon your life? Do you have the courage to abandon your own carefully built plans, the ones you spent years shaping just to follow the purpose I set for you before time began? If you are willing, I will take you where no one else can lead you, not by strength or talent, but by surrender. I will open doors no human hand can shut. I will bring you into places where your name has never been heard, but when you enter, they will sense something different, not because you tried to impress, but because my presence is upon you. You won't have to try to shine, for the light I placed within you will radiate wherever you are. I will grant you favor beyond understanding. Those who once overlooked you will turn back, not to glorify you, but to glorify me. Because when you choose me over influence, I will cause influence to follow you without you chasing it. When you choose to carry my glory rather than build your own kingdom, I will raise you up as a witness to my faithfulness in a generation weary of the counterfeit. The difference within you is not a burden, my child. It is a sign that you are not a product of this world, a sign that you cannot blend in, for light and darkness do not mix. A sign that you have been called, set apart, marked with a purpose that cannot be extinguished. Every time you felt out of place, every time you were misunderstood or left behind, it was not by accident. It was my way of keeping you from being swept into the current of the ordinary. It was how I kept you awake in a world that is falling asleep. You were chosen, not because you are always right, always strong, or always ready, but because I see in you something more valuable than ability. Surrender. In a world that demands proof of worth, you need only hold on to the worth I've placed within you. You are mine. And because you belong to me, you do not need to become something else to be accepted. My presence upon you is enough to move mountains, enough to part seas, enough to make the desert bloom. Let me remind you of this, so you never forget. You are not being forced into this path. You are honored to walk it. This is not a burden, it is a privilege, to be called my child, to walk in what I've written specifically for your life. There will be seasons where you walk alone, but you are never abandoned. There will be places I lead you that others will not understand, but you don't need to explain. They do not need to grasp my plan. You only need to obey. You may feel weak, you may feel afraid, but if there is even a flicker of willingness in you, I can do more than you imagine. I can turn tears into testimony. I can turn pain into open doors. I can use anonymity to prepare you for glory. I can turn every moment of being overlooked into a table spread before your enemies, not for revenge, but to show that my grace is sufficient and my calling irrevocable. So keep walking one step at a time with open hands, with a trusting heart. Live like one who knows they are called not to perform, but to be present with me, for me, in me. Everything you do, no matter how small, quiet, or unnoticed, carries eternal weight when done in obedience. Keep your heart tender. Keep your ears attuned to my whisper. Keep your eyes fixed on me, the one who called you, who chose you, and who will complete every good thing in you. I did not bring you this far just to abandon you. I did not call you through wilderness after wilderness only to turn my back when you run out of strength. Not a single step in your journey is wasted. Not a single lonely night escapes my presence. Every piece, the pain, the silence, the rejections, the hollow spaces where you feared being forgotten, all of it, is part of my design. They are not tragedies, they are grace. Grace in severe wrapping, but grace that is forming you not merely to survive, but to carry power. I am shaping you into a vessel not merely for beauty, but for capacity, not for display, but for anointing. And that anointing is not for the complacent. It is not for those who only desire ease. It is reserved for those willing to be crushed. You've known the breaking. You felt the soul-deep emptiness. That was not punishment. That was the fire purifying you like gold. I cannot pour my oil into a vessel still polluted. And that oil is not given for fame, but to break chains, heal wounds, and awaken what is dead. It is oil that cannot be bought. It is only entrusted to those who are wholly surrendered. And that is you, the one I have set apart, not to be separate in pride, but reserved for a different purpose. You are not called to be better than others, but to live differently, walk differently, love differently, serve differently. What I am preparing in you is not for the temporary, but for the eternal kingdom. I do not train as the world trains. They seek outward perfection. I seek a willing heart. The world crowns the flashy, I crown the quietly faithful. And that is what I see in you. This world is not your home. That is why you've never quite felt settled. There are nights when you lie down and feel you belong nowhere. Shallow conversations tire you. The goals of men leave your soul untouched. Don't think something is wrong with you, it's just your spirit yearning for a higher kingdom, because you are a citizen of heaven. And that kingdom is not only waiting, it is drawing near. I am preparing ambassadors. Not those who speak well, but those who live truthfully. Not those who seek the spotlight, but the humble ones who say to me, I am willing. I'm not looking for celebrities. I am not drawn to performers. I am seeking laborers, those willing to bow low when others want to rise high. I am seeking souls who love even when love is not returned, hands that still serve when no one claps, feet that still move when no one cheers, whispers in the night that still say, I'm here, Lord, send me. And I have seen you among the crowd, not because you are perfect, but because you are faithful. I chose you, not today, but long before you knew my name. I laid my hand upon your life in your mother's womb. And nothing about you is random. Your temperament, your personality, even the things you once saw as weaknesses, I am using them all to shape a bearer of my name. You thought the silent years were wasted, but it was in that silence that I was planting seeds. In that darkness, I was laying foundation. And now you are entering the season of fruitfulness, the season where everything you've walked through will finally make sense. You will see why you were misunderstood. You will understand why you were pushed out of places you longed to stay. You will know why you never connected easily like others. It is because I have kept you for myself. I do not want anyone defining you but me. I do not want your identity built on human approval. For if they can give you a name, they can also take it away. But I have named you with a name only you and I know, and that name no one can steal. So do not return to the familiar just because it feels safe. Do not suffocate your calling out of fear of loneliness. You are not alone. You are set apart, and there is a great difference between being abandoned and being consecrated. The abandoned one was not chosen, but the consecrated one is being prepared. I am refining you like a sword in the hands of a warrior, not for decoration, but for use. And when the time comes, I will send you to the right place at the right time to the right people, and the world will not understand. They will wonder how you carry such sharpness, such peace, such authority no man ever gave you. And the answer will be this: you were set apart with me. No spotlight, no stage. Just ashes, tears, faithfulness, and a voice you could not ignore. I have chosen you not for fame, but for eternity. So, my beloved, keep walking. Don't wait for ease before moving forward. Don't wait for recognition before obeying. I have already affirmed you. I have anointed you. And my presence is your proof. If you have me, you lack nothing. Live as one who is set apart, not for yourself, but for a kingdom that is coming. And when that day comes, you will hear me say, "Well done, my good and faithful servant. You were faithful in little. Now enter into your Father's joy." My beloved child, I know you are weary. Weary not just because of the long journey, but because sometimes you cannot see the reason behind each step. I see that. I see the moments you look around and wonder, have you forgotten me? But, my child, I have never left your side. It is in the quietest moments that I am preparing the greatest things. I am refining you in ways the eyes of the world cannot perceive. I am shaping you in the dark so that when the light comes you will not be consumed by it, but you will stand firm, radiant, and unshakable. Do not let loneliness lie to you, telling you that you are insignificant. Do not let unopened doors convince you that you are without worth. Do not let delay make you believe I have changed my mind. You are not abandoned. You are not hidden to be forgotten. You are hidden to be preserved. Like a seed buried deep in the soil, you are being nourished in silence, in obscurity and waiting. But in due season you will arise, and when I send you forth, no one will be able to deny what I have placed within you. Not because of fame, not because you are more talented than others, but because my presence within you will speak louder than any words. I do not need the world's affirmation of you, for I affirmed you before your first cry. I will use even what you consider failure. I will use your story, not the polished, edited version, but the real one, with cracks, with scars, with all the times you fell, because it is there that I will reveal my glory. It is in the place you once saw as weakness that I will demonstrate my strength. It is in the place you once feared people would see that I will turn into living proof of my restoring power. And from that deep place, I will give you joy, not a fleeting happiness, but a deep-rooted contentment. This joy will not come and go. It will not be taken by circumstances. It will not waver with the opinions of others. That joy will be what holds you when those who once walked beside you give up. When the applause stops, when the storms rise without warning, when all goes silent and you find yourself alone, my joy will be the anchor for your soul. Not because everything is easy, but because you will know you are exactly where I want you to be, and that, my child, is freedom. That is true rest. That is something no human glory could ever replace. You were not created to merely do something good. You were made for something eternal. You are not just called to perform, you are called to be. To bear my image, to become a walking word, a living testimony that I am real. And not just real, I am enough. I am the one who loves enough to shape you in hiddenness, so that when you emerge, nothing can shake what I've built inside you. I know you've doubted yourself at times, but never once have I doubted what I've placed within you. Heaven still applauds for you, even when earth is silent. The angels rejoice when you choose faithfulness over convenience. When you obey in the little things, I record it as great. When you worship me through tears, it rises as a sacred fragrance before my throne. When you say no to compromise, I am preparing you for doors no one else can walk through. You were not sent to be understood. Your calling is not to fit in with this world, but to represent a kingdom not of this world. The world may not understand you. It may reject you. It may call you names I never gave you. But you are not living to be understood. You are living to be led. And when that final day comes, it will not be the eyes of man, but the sound of my voice that your soul will long for. Well done, my good and faithful servant. That is the reward, not a title, not a platform, but a word from me, the one who walked with you through every season, every second, every moment you wanted to give up. And until that day, the day when all things are fulfilled, I invite you to walk with me, not in haste, not in striving, not in competition. Work with me not by pushing harder, but by surrendering deeper. Lay down the burdens you were never meant to carry. Let me lead you to a place where your spirit can breathe, where joy is not based on gain or loss, where peace is not shaken by circumstance, where you don't have to be strong, just honest and present. Because you are chosen, not because you are better than others, but because you are mine. Not because you got everything right, but because you dared to say yes when everything was still unclear. I see that, and I have not forgotten. I never will. I have engraved your name upon the palms of my hands. Every step you take, every sigh you release, every upward glance, I record them all. And now I say to you, go forth. Everything you need I have prepared, and your true purpose begins now. Now offer me the prayer from the deepest part of your soul, unhidden, unfiltered, simply honest and whole. Almighty God, creator of my being, who knows every corner of my heart, I come before you today without pretense, without titles, without the roles I've tried to maintain. I bring only a soul desperate to be set free from what I've clung to, from burdens you never gave me, from the fear of being forgotten, of failing, of being left behind. Please uproot all that no longer belongs to me. Teach me to let go, not in bitterness, but in trust. Today I don't ask for greatness. I simply ask to be exactly where you want me to be, and to live as you created me to live. Loving Father, my shelter from things unseen, thank you for not letting me keep chasing after what was wrong, even when I accused you, misunderstood you, and doubted your goodness. Today I surrender, not because I understand everything, but because I choose to believe that you never take anything without preparing something better. Please cleanse my mind from the old words that bound me like chains. Free me from myself, from perfectionism, from fear of failure, from the habit of living to meet others' expectations. Build me again from the deepest place. Holy God, who knew my life before I knew my name, I come to you like a broken vessel, misshapen from misdirected striving. But today, I no longer want to fix myself my way. I ask you to break me and remake me in your way, in your time for your good plans. Teach me to slow down, to be still in your presence. I do not want to be a voice without oil. I do not want to chase ministry and lose your presence. Fill me again with fresh life. Eternal Father, who leads me through the shaking of this age, steady my feet on trembling ground. When all around me shifts, do not let my heart be moved. When the world runs toward the grand, teach me to remain in the simple. Remind me that I was not made to do everything, I was made to obey. I choose your presence over popularity. Let my heart be firm like stone, light like wind, soft like soil, so you may plant whatever seed you will without resistance. Holy Father, I thank you for keeping me set apart, even when I blamed you, even when I tormented myself for being left out. But now I see it was your protection. You hid me from distorted gazes, from disguised envy, from plans not born of your will. Thank you for the loneliness that nearly broke me, but became my place of healing. Thank you for not letting me blend in, because I was made to walk a different path. Merciful God, I thank you for a presence no riches or reputation could replace, for a joy that cannot be bought. I thank you that when everything else fades, you remain unchanging. Thank you for not giving me what I wanted, but what I truly needed. Thank you for your patience, for waiting until I understood, not forcing me to. You are good and worthy of all praise. Dear Father, I thank you for not allowing my dreams to come true when they didn't come from you, for if they had been fulfilled, they would have become prisons. Thank you for the delays. Now I see them as grace. Thank you for the closed doors now. I know they were signs of your providence. Thank you for the ones who left, because now I see they were never meant to be part of the journey you've written for me. Every loss has made room for something greater from you. Lord of life, I thank you for not letting me trade my soul for small things, for calling me to a purpose bigger than myself. Thank you for not letting me settle in normal, because it was that unrest that pushed me toward you. Thank you for the stirring, the burning I didn't always understand, but now I know it was heaven calling. Thank you for not letting me dissolve into the crowd, because you called me to shine. I offer this prayer in the holy name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so that together we can build a strong community of faith.